In the following section, we are going to learn about function basics. So, what's function? In Python, a function is a named block of code that performs a specific task or set of tasks. Functions are designed to be reusable, making it easier to organize and maintain our code. They allow us to encapsulate a sequence of statements into a single unit, which we can call multiple times with different inputs. A function is a small module that organizes a code block with independent functionality and can be called when needed. Use a function involves two steps. So first step is to define a function to encapsulate the independent functionality. The second step is to call a function, which we can enjoy the benefits of encapsulation. Like in the future, if we want to use the functionality, we just encapsulate the code first. Then if we want to use it, we don't need to write again and again. We can just call it. So the purpose of the function is to improve the code efficiency and code reusability when developing the programs. So now we can have a quick experience of the function about the benefit of function. First step is to create a new function project. Then we can copy the previous complete multiple table file, the Python file to the function project. So let's do that. Let's go back to the multiplication Python file under the loop project. Then we can copy it to our newly created function project. And if we right click and find it in open in Finder, then we will see our loops zero line multiplication file is under here. Let me right click and copy it. Then let's go back to our project of the basic of function. This come here and open function basics. Just this window. And then past here, then we will have the loops zero y multiplication.py. Go to our directory and the desktop CSI1320 and function basic project. So we have copied our loops zero line multiplication Python file to the project of function basics. So let's go back to our notes to see the second step is to copy previous file and modify the file to add function definition. This move the nodes to the left and create a new function, another file, import and call the function using import. New Python file, name the function the one and a quick experience. Next step is to modify the file name to add a function definition, multiply tables, and this go to the file and rename, refactor rename, function underscore 00 and multiple table.py. So we have renamed it. And then this add a div, and it's a function definition named multiply table. Right click and paste. And this check about how to do this definition to encapture all the functionality together. Let's do it like this. Select all from 9 to 21 and use tab to get the indentation. So we have finished encapture this codes inside the multiply table function. So this is the definition of the function example. And let's go to the function, the one quick experience, Python file, and have a quick experience by typing the keyword import. And let me type function and 00 here. We can import this function package here. And so how to experience this is type function 001. We can call a function and enjoy the benefits of encapsulation. Since we have encapsulated this code to multiply a table function here, and this use dot, we will see we have option to get the multiply table. So we have called this function inside our quick experience Python file. Let me right click. We can see we have called this function successfully from the function the multiple table. This is our output of the function call. So this is a quick experience before we learn more about what the usages of functions are. Now let's learn the basic function usages. First, let's learn to define a function. The format for defining a function is as follows. First, we use a def, the keyword, and with a space followed by the function name and the brackets, and also followed by important colon sign. And inside is a function body, and we can code the enclosed by the function. So these are the body function, which are the enclosed code inside. And here def is short for define, means to define a function. The function name should express the functionality of the enclosed code for easy reference and be called. So the function name should also follow the naming rule for the identifier. It can consist of letters, underscores, and numbers. Can start with a number and can use the same name as a keyword. Next, let's learn about function call. To call a function is very straightforward. We can simply use the function dash call name to call it. And this demonstrate our first function example. The requirements are first write a greeting function, say hello, and in caption needs 3 lines of greeting code. Then call the greeting code below the function. This go to our PyCharm. Right click to create a new file. Let me move here. New Python file and function 03. This is a first greeting function. And so first with is to define the function only means capture a piece of code. They are not the requirements. So let me comment them here. And next, use def and say to define a say hello function and with a colon sign and print hello one. Print hello two, hello three. And if I run it, we can see there's no function here. And we can see there's also in line 6, there's a green curly lines under the function say hello. It's because for the comments, we need to have at least two spaces, two lines between them. Because for the function is a independent code block, so it wants to set some space between other contents. So this continue to check our code. As I right click, it didn't show anything because we haven't call the function. So to call the function, we can just write the function name. Let's go to at least a two space and with no indentation, call say hello. So right now it has been called, and if I right click, we can see hello 1, 2, 3 has been printed here. And so here is a name, Lily. So let's define a variable name, Lily. And print before we call the hello function, print name. And then print name. And we can see there's another curly bracket because it's too close to our say hello function. And we can use the shortcut option Command L. So it will automatically help us to delete the curly bracket and get us a more readable format for our code. So I put a print name ahead of say hello function call, and also put a print name after it. Let me right click to run. So we can see the name and hello, say hello call function, and another name has been printed in the console. So let's go back to the notes, and to see, we can observe the execution process of the code using step-by-step execution. And defining a function simply means encapture a piece of code. Yes, we have encapture the three pieces of code together inside the say hello function. And functions will not execute automatically unless they are actively called. At first, if I don't have this say hello function call, this function itself wouldn't print anything until I called. And this, take a look at the question and answer. The question is, can we place the function call above the function definition? The answer is no. Before calling a function by its name, the Python must already know that the function exists. Otherwise, the console will display a name error. Let's do that. Let's move the function call. On the top of the say hello function, and we can see there's a unsolved reference, say hello warning here. Let me right click. We can see there will be a name error. Name say hello is not defined in line 7. And so that's why we cannot put the function call before defining a function. Let me move it back. So this solve our QA. Next is about the debugging tool. We can use step over and step into to debug our code. Step over allows us to execute the code step by step, treating the function calls as a single line of code to be executed. We have been using step over a lot in our previous examples. And now we're going to introduce a new debugging tool, step into, which allows us to execute the code step by step. And if it's a function, we will enter the function's intervals. Here, we can use F8 or F7 because in Windows, only in Windows, or with the keyboard, you have F8. If in Mac, we cannot use that. So in Windows system, so we can use F8. Otherwise, we cannot find this keyboard. Now we can right click and debug. First, this use step over, which is F8, and the neighbor is step into. Let me do step over first. Step over means execute step by step, then step over, then it will jump to next line, 8, then step over again. It jumped directly to print name. It means the step over has been treating the function as a block together. And this go to step over again, it jumped to 916 and step over again 918, and we have print out all the outputs in the console. So that's the use of step over. It will execute code step by step, but will treat the function call as a single line of code. It's a whole block. So it's treated as like this. But this time, this use step into. Let's see what will happen. It will go to 9.8, step into. Then it goes to 9.14 again, and go to say hello to call the function of say hello. Then what will happen next? It go back to 9 again to when say hello was caught, and go to 9:10 and go to 9:11. So that's the difference between step into and step over, and it come back to the say hello function again, and go to print name. And we have finished the debugging, and the results have been printed out. So that's the difference for step over and step into. Step into allows us to execute the code step by step. And if it's a function, we will enter the function entirely. So next, let's learn about the function documentation. In development, if we want to add comments to a function, we should use 3 pairs of consecutive quotation marks below the function definition. Write explanatory text about the function's purpose between the 3 pairs of consecutive quotation marks, and use a shortcut. We can also use a shortcut Control Q as a function called location to view the function's documentation, and this is only for Windows. F8 only for Windows. So not suitable for Mac OS. And we can, for Mac OS, we can put the cursor or above the name, function name. In Mac OS to see, to view the function documentations. And this goes to here. Under the function name, this have 3 quotation marks, and write the comments greetings here. And if I move the cursor above of the function name, we can view the function documentation. Def say hello to none. Right now, currently, we don't need to know what's none mean, and see the comments greetings. Also, we can move our cursor above here to see the greetings, right? Let me check if I moved above the say hello, we can also see all the information here. And another way is to, if we go to view and quick documentation, we can find, if we move to the name first, we need to move our cursor above the name first, say hello in 917 and fire, not fire view, quick documentation. We can see it's shown here, right? Another thing is to move here and view, quick documentation. See, we have showed our information about the function documentation here. Let's look at the note here. Because the function body is relatively independent, there should be 2 blank lines between the function definition and other code, including the comments. So as we have showed before, we have to keep at least 2 lines between the name or comment, even comments for the function body. So if it's only 1 line or 0 lines between the line 5 and line 6, we will get a curly lines showing there's something wrong about formatting. Let me use use Option Command and L. Now this learns the function parameters, and here's a practice question. The requirements are to develop a sum to num function, and the function should be able to calculate the sum of 2 numbers. Let me copy the requirements to Python. And if we move the nodes to the left side, and create a new Python file. Then functions. Therefore, sum two numbers and comments the requirements. First is to use our def to define a function named sum to num, then and followed by a pair of a parenthesis size and a colon sign. Then num1 variable assign it equals to 10, and num2 variable assign it value 20, and the result variable equals to num1 plus num2. Then we can print the result. Integer and format operator plus integer equals to the result. And this go to add the variable names followed by the percent sign, the operator for format, num1, num2, and the result separated by comma. And now this delete the intention and write and call the function. And we can see there is a so we need to reformat the file with a gray curly line. We can see we need to keep at least 2 lines. So let's rerun. And we get the result, print out 10 plus 20 equals 30. However, we can only do one calculation because the values for the variables num1 and num2 are fixed. So here is a problem for this code. The function can only handle the fixed number for additions. So how to solve it? Would be great if we could pass a number to be calculated to the function when calling it, right? If we call some numbers inside and the values can pass inside here, then we can get the result every time to get flexible numbers, not fixed. So we can use function parameter to solve this problem. So what's function parameters and how to use it? First, let's say if we can fill in parameters inside the parentheses after the function name. So after the function name, if we can fill in the parameters, then we can call them from here. And we can separate the multiple parameters with commas from here. So let's do that. If we can add num1 and num2 after the function name, then we can pass a value inside here, and let me comment it. Pass the value, for example, here, 50 and 20, and this run to see we get the result 50 plus 20 equals to 70. If we change the number of 15 to 2 to 1, then this redo. We can get 2 + 1 = 3. So it's more flexible than fixed numbers. So these are the advantages of using parameters. And then let's go back to the notes to see the purpose of parameters is first, a function organizes a code block with independent functionality that can be called when needed, and function parameters enhance the versatility of the function. For the same data processing logic, it can handle more data, and inside the function, parameters are treated as variables for the required data processing. When calling the function, data that needs to be processed inside the function is passed through the parameter according to the order in which the parameters are defined. This not about the by the debugging debugging tool. Let me first click a breakpoint here and debug. So we are going to step into the code instead of step over. So if step into, we can go inside the function lines. First, let me click step into function. We can see we have defined the values. We have assigned the values for number 2, number 1 into 2, and number 2 of 1. And then step into, it jump to line 8, and continue step into, it jump to line 10. And this is a console. It hasn't print anything. Let's go back to debugger. Step into, it go to line 13, and to call number 1 and number 2, right? And then we can, in the console, we can have print the output. So this is how it works about the code to assign the value from line 13 to line 4 when calling the function. And let's go back to the notes. And for 3.3, it shows the formal parameters and actual parameters definition. For formal parameters, it's the parameters in parentheses after the function name, which are used to receive the arguments that are used as variables inside the function. The actual parameters are the parameters in parentheses when calling the function are used to pass the data to the function. So actual function are the actual numbers when calling the function. So here, 2 and 1 are actual functions. And in the name, let me move the notes in the left and give comments. So these two, num1 and num2 variables are formal parameters, which help us to define the parameters during the defining the function, and the numbers, actual numbers, to pass to the definition, the function and defined variables are actual parameters. Next, let's know about function return value. In program development, sometimes we want a function to tell or give the caller a result after it completes its work. and a return value is a result that a function gives to the caller. We can use the return keyword in the function to return the result, and the caller can use a variable to receive the result of the function when calling it. And note here, no code will be executed after return. This demonstrate the return value by the example of the same example. From here, we can see if without a return, the core value and when to receive a value after the calculation from the function, right? So we can use return to receive a value returned to the caller. This create a new Python file. Function 05 and return. First, define the function. Named sum of two numbers and give two formal parameters, num1 and num2. And this add a comment here. Then this return, use return num1 plus num2 to get the result. And now this calls function and use the result variable to receive the calculation result. This call by sum2, and we can see we need to write two actual parameters for the formal parameters to pass the value for calculation. So num1 we can write 10, num2 we can write 20 to assign these two numbers, and this print the result. The result is %d and percent of the result. So we are to receive this result. First, this assign available result equals to the returned value from the calculation of passing the actual parameter of 10 to 20 into the formal parameters and do the calculation. Then the value would be returned to result to receive it. So the callers can know the result from return. And so we can print the result here. Let's right click. We can see the result is 30. And this debug this code to understand the different steps. Let's click a breakpoint, then use debug, and let's choose step into. Then it goes to return line 4, and from the first line we already know the number 10 and 20 has been passed to the for more parameters. Then this step into the code jumps to 10, and we can get the result passed to from the return to the result and get printed. So this is very straightforward for the debugging process, and that we need to pay attention about the result. No code will be executed after return. For example, if I put my cursor here after the line of return and I click return, it will jump automatically to number 5. It means it has been jumped outside of the function because there's no indentation for here, no space here. But if I put my cursor here and I I press my return button, it will give some indentation for us. Means we are still drafting the function. So no code would be executed after return. Let me do this. If I type numbers, if I assign anything like num3 equals to 100, and let's say would it be executed? Let's use debug and step into result and step into print. Then we didn't go through 9.5, right? So it means 9.5 didn't get executed because it's after a return. And if I use a tab to get it indented and the curly bracket is gone. However, if I move the cursor on the bar above the code, there is a hint showing this code is unreachable. And this is the point we need to pay attention to for return, and no code will be executed after a return. And next, this is now the nested function calls. So when a function calls another function within it, it's called a function nesting. If function test2 calls another function test1, when it reaches the call to a test1 function, it will first complete all the tasks in the test1 function. After that, it will return to the position in test2 where the test1 function was called and continue executing the subsequent code. So it seems not easy to understand from the words. So this go to PyCharm to practice. An example help us to understand. Let's create a new file. Function 06 and function nested call, and define a function name test1, parentheses, and this print asterisk for 50 times. Then print test1 and print asterisk 50 times again. And now let's define a second function named test2. And inside here, print a hyphen for 100 times. Or just 50 times to make them align. And don't forget the colon. And next, this print. Test2. And here, this call text1. And print, continue to print some content in test2. Print hyphen again. And 50 times again. And here, let me call test2. So these are our code. So this run to see the result should be like first of hyphen and then test2, then call test1 to print the asterisk, then print test1 and print 50 asterisk again. Then after test1 finish the contents of printing, then come back to finish print the hyphen again. We can change to a different like plus sign here. So I have changed the 911 from hyphen to plus sign. So it will distinguish about 9, 8, and 11 to see which can get executed first. Let me run again. We can see 9, 11 get executed by the last. Let's check the code by debugging right click, and we can use step into to see it goes to line 2, line 3, line 4, then go to line 10 to call test1. And if I click step into again, it will jump to test2 and call all the contents immediately. See, the test result has been output into the console array. And this is how we call about test1 and test2 contents in a nested function course. Let me use Google search to help you understand about a nested function course. So if we use Google and search something like Ulix, and we can see if we click Ulix Wikipedia, and it's like test1. During test1, we want to call a function like test2 multiple task. It's like call this, and if we finish this reading this is like test2. Should we just finish our execution? No, we will go back to finish reading our Ulix1, right? So that's this example is similar to our test1 and test2 for the nested function course. Hope this can help you understand the meanings for nested function. Next, let's do more practice about nested functions. Practice 1 is to define a print9 function that can print a line of asterisk characters. And I have defined create a Python named nested practice within it. Let's do practice 1. Define a function by def named print9. And a pair of parentheses and colon, and then this print 50 times of asterisk times 50, and this call this function here by print 9, then run. We can get 50 asterisks printed here. Let me redo. Yes, and let's do practice 2. Define a function that can print a line of characters made up of any characters. And here we will pass a formal character in the function. So let me comment practice 1 and depth means define a print 9. How about let me copy paste and add a formal parameter here. Char means any kind of characters. So I need to add a parameter char2 here. How about this name it? Use a char by plus. And here, let me change the char. So it will be printed 50 times as well. See, we have printed 50 times of plus sign. We can also change to dollar sign. And we get a lot of $50 printed out. Next, practice 3 is to define a function that can print a line of characters repeated any any number of times. So we need to add one more formal parameter here and change this to times. And we need to define here about the times. Then here, I need to pass a number of times as well, a character, an integer, for example, 10 times of dollar sign. Then it would print 10 times. If 100, then it's 100, right? And for practice 4 is to define a function that can print 5 lines of separator or divider that meet the requirement 3. For practice 3, and should we change this code? Before that, we need to think about it. There's a tip. When the requirements change in our work, it's important to be cautious about whether we should modify the previous completed and normally execution functions. So we need to print 5 lines of separators, 5 lines here. If I change to 10 and change this to minus or hyphen, and it will be 10 times to print 10 lines of separators. So we had print about the repeating before. So repeat will made us think about using loop. So we can use while loop here. So we don't need to change anything, just add something here, since this code for practice 3 works, right? So we can define another function, use diff, and use the name print nice. And character and times. So we are going to use a nested functions here. And we are going to define a while statement here. Before that, this assign the variable name row to 0 and write a while statement for row smaller than 5, then it will print 5 lines of separators. Then this call this function, this nested function here for the first function in front, print line function, and pass the former parameters in. And this, don't forget to add the restriction condition about the row to increase by 1 every time for the while statement. And let me do a format. Let me do another format. So let me right click to see what will happen. We haven't print anything because we didn't assign the numbers in. So this change the character and times into actual parameters. So character is iPhone and print for 20 times. Let's see what will happen. We can use the nested function to solve this problem. So first, let me comment this line, and this define another function named print lines, and use a while loop. First, this defines the variable row, assign the value to 0, and use while loop to print 5 lines. So it's smaller than 5, the row, and call the print line, for example, by dash and 10 times or 50 times. And we forgot the colon here. And we need to add a condition for the row to add by 1 for each time. And this print, call the print lines here, and right click. Let's see, we have printed 5 lines of separators successfully. However, for line 17, we can notice we have fixed characters and times. So can we change them to flexible input? Of course, we can change them to characters and the times. And with here, we need to add the actual parameters, character and times. Then here in line 22, we can input anything we want to print, like $sign, and for 20 times per line, then right click. See, we have 5 lines of $signs, and each line print for 20 times. It's very flexible. And how about change to plus sign and 13 times per line? Great, we have printed 5 lines of plus sign, and each line with 30 pluses. Great. So we have used the nested function to solve practice 4. is a good practice. Let's go to section 6 to use functions in modules. So what are modules? They are a core concept in the architecture. Next, let's learn to use the function in modules. So what are modules? They are a core concept in the architecture of Python programs. A module is like a toolkit. To use the tools in this toolkit, we need to improve the module. Every Python source code file ended with a .py extension is a module, and the global variables and functions defined in a module are tools that the module can directly provide for external use. So here we have a new concept, global variables. We will learn about it later. First, we can experience our module by practice. Step 1 is to create a new file named module z1 separate.py. And let me copy the name and move the note to the left. Then in the function basket project, let's create this new Python file. And the next step is to copy the content of a function 07 nested practice py into it, except for the last line of print code, and add a string variable. So let's open it and print everything, every line inside, except line 22 for print, for call it. Then let's go to the separator, and then next let's add a string variable name and Lily here. Next, create a file named module02 experience and write the following code. Let's create a new file and the project and import the module z1 separator. Let's import and module z1 separator. Then we can use the module separator dot print 9 to print 80 times of the hyphens. Let me right click. We have printed 5 lines and 80 times for the hyphens for each line. Great. It means we have called the functions successful for print 9. And next, can we call the variables here? Let me type import, type M and import the module, and we can find this name variable here. And let's print this variable and right click. We can see Lily has been printed successfully here. It means we have called the module function and variable successful to after I import the .py module, z1 separate in. So look at these summaries. We can define the variable for function in a Python file, and like here, we defined the variable in the or function in the Python file. Then in another Python file, we can import this module by using import. Next, after importing, we can use a module's defined variable or function using module name dot variable and module name dot function. Yes, we have successfully executed these two. And module make it very convenient for us to reuse the previous written code. We have demonstrated it too. And the module names are also identifier. We can see every time if we import the module name is actually the .py name, right? So they have the same identifier rooms. Identifiers can consist of letters, underscores, and numbers. They can start with a number. If you name, we name a Python file start with a number, we won't be able to import the module in PyCharm. And they can have the same name as keywords too. If, for example, I name a file, Python file with number 11, and I have created it, but it's against the naming rule. And if I go to experience again, if I want to import 11, here, this shows a error, identify expected. And right click, we will get an error message. Here shows in 9.2, 11, there's a message, it's a syntax error, invalid syntax. So we cannot import a module start with a number, and we cannot name with a number as well. Let's delete it since this is a mistake. And this concludes this section for module, and module is very important. It's a core structure for Python program, which is very, very important because we can reuse the code we have a previous written.